Hi guys. All right, so today is the 27th, and let me hop up to the top. All right, so today was, we're doing Red Ribbon Week all this week. So today we wore camo and military shirts. Tomorrow we're going to wear our favorite team shirts. We did our morning movement. We read Nothing Rhymes with Orange. For math today, we got into expanded form. So, bring up a whiteboard. All right, so I told the kids, I said everything that we're doing with the decimals, it's pretty much running through the same pattern that we did with whole numbers, to where we talked about what they are in expanded form, standard form, expanded notation, word form. We compared them, we ordered them, we added them, we subtracted them. All these same things we can do with decimals as well. So a lot of the patterns and things like that are following the same. It's just now we're working with different place values. So we started with the tenths. Let's say we have 15 and 7/10. We're going to talk about the value of each of these digits. So if you remember, the 1 here is in the ones place. The 5, the 5 is in the ones place, sorry. The 1 is in the tens place, and the 7 is in the tenths place. And so whenever we go to write this out in expanded form, the 10 is the same as 10 plus the ones place. If I have 5 of them, that's just 5. So these are whole numbers, they have no decimals. Once we get over here and we move to the right, everything over here has to have a decimal. If I write it just like, if I just put 7, that's 7 wholes. That's a lot different than 7/10. Okay, so 7 wholes just looks like a 7. 7/10. This is what 7/10 looks like. It's not a whole, it's a fraction. So you want to make sure that you are adding that decimal point to show I'm talking about decimals. So plus 7/10. Okay, so here's decimal form. We can also put that in a fraction form and just put 7/10. So 10 plus 5 plus 7/10. All right, another one. We moved in a little bit bigger and we got into the hundreds. So here, let's say we have 23 and 29 hundredths. Again, this is my tens place, my ones. Now I'm in my tenths and hundredths. So tens, ones, tenths, and hundredths. Remember that tenths has that THS. It's not the same as a 10. Okay, a tenth looks like this. This is 1/10. A 10 looks like this. This one is a fraction, decimal. This one is a whole number. Same thing with hundredths. Hundredths, THS. This is 1/100th. It's very different, very, than 100. Okay, this is 1 part out of 100. This is the same as a penny. A penny is nowhere near $100. 1/10 is like a dime. A dime is not anywhere close to the same value as a 10. So you have to be very careful when you're working with whole numbers and decimals and making sure that you're writing the correct one. All right, so the 2, I'm going to start here with my 2. The 2 is in the 10, so that's 20, plus the 3 is in the ones place, so plus 3. The 2 is in the tenths place, so I can write it as a decimal, plus the 9 is in the hundredths place. Now, if you look here, the 9, here's my decimal point right here. It's 1 spot over is the tenths, 2 spots over for the hundredths. Okay, so if you have your decimal point, right to the right, anything that's in this little parking spot, I call it, right to the right of the decimal, those are your tenths. Next door is your hundredths. So when you want your 9 right here to be in that hundredths place, you have to put your decimal point, you have to put a space, we call this a placeholder 0, and then you have to put your 9. Okay, so you want the 9 to be in that hundredths place. If you put it here, then you're saying that that's 9/10. So again, that place matters. You have to put it in the right place. Just like with the 2, if I have 2, 2, 2, okay, they're all different. They all have different values. This one's value is 2. This one's value is 20. This one's got a 200 value. So placement matters. All right, let's try one more of those with the hundreds. So let's go bigger. Let's say 500, 561, and 92 hundredths. So start off with my 500 plus 60 plus 1. There's the whole number part, each of these. 500, 6 tens, 1 1, plus, now I'm going to get into my decimals, 0.9, right next door here, it needs to be right next door here, plus the 2 is 2 spots over, so I'm going to do 2 spots over. So 500 plus 60 plus 1 plus 9/10 plus 2 hundredths. Each time I say that, I'm going back over here and I'm glancing. So 500, I see the 5's in the hundreds place. 60, 6 is in the tens place. 1, the 1 is in the ones place. 9/10, the 9 is in the tenths place. 2 hundredths, the 2 is in the hundreds place. So as I'm doing that, I'm going through and I'm checking, and I'm just kind of self-checking to make sure that I did that correctly. Okay, so we worked on some problems like that. We're just making up numbers and then writing out each of the expanded form. And then students today in Google Classroom, they had Tuesday math independent work where they had some practice problems where they were really looking at that those expanded form problems. Tomorrow we're going to move into expanded notation. So we're going to take what we learned today and apply it to expanded notation tomorrow. And then let's see, agenda. So students did that. We're in the orange here. So they did that Google Classroom assignment. Then we got into reading. So reading, we were in Seesaw. And we started this yesterday, so we went to our draft that we did yesterday. All right, so we were talking about argumentative or persuasive text. We're saying that when we talk about this, it's text that's trying to change your belief or your habit. It's wanting you to take some kind of action to do something. Okay, we talked about the structure. We worked on these couple pages yesterday, so these should be filled in. Today we are talking about fact and opinion. So within argumentative texts, people are sharing their opinion. So if I say, I keep talking about dogs and cats. If I say dogs are a better pet than cats are, well, I might be able to convince my reader, even though that's my opinion, and I recognize that me saying that is not a fact. It's an opinion. It's just my belief. It's what I think. It doesn't mean that everybody else also thinks that. I could back up my opinion with facts. Okay. So I could say, I could give a fact about why a dog, or a fact about a dog that would show my reader, oh, yeah, hey, dogs are better than cats. So here we went through here, we completed this. It says a fact can be proven to be true. So facts, you're looking for things like dates, numbers, scientific evidence, experts, historical events, things like that are some clues that is something, whatever's being said is a fact. Here's an example. I am a student at Fern Bluff Elementary. Okay, that's something that we could prove. Opinions, on the other hand, an opinion is what someone thinks, what they believe, how they feel. So things that you're looking for, if you say something is the best or the worst or it always or it never is some way, that's usually kind of a red flag. Talking about feelings, if you hear someone say I feel, well, that's how that person feels, but that doesn't mean that that's how everybody feels. Should, the word good or bad. Okay, if I say pizza is good, well, again, that's my opinion. Not everybody feels like that. All right, Fern Bluff Elementary is the best school ever. That is an opinion. Everybody thinks their school's the best, hopefully. So, again, that's just based on their opinion. All right, here, fact and opinion, we put these where they go. And then once we move these, so Martin Luther King, he was born on a certain date, we can put that where it goes. An octopus is a strange animal. That word strange, well, depends who you ask. So once we put these where they go, I'm going to just move them out of the way over here. We built our own. So if you go to shapes with a line, we built our own little T-chart over here on the side. And we labeled it fact. Move that here, and opinion. And we just came up with some of our own. All right, fact and opinion. So facts, you could we put 2 over here, 2 over here of our own. So we move these where those need to go under fact or opinion. And then over here, we made up 2. Oops, I want to do this. 2 facts and 2 opinions, okay, that we added of our own. All right, after that, we drafted that. And then for small group, we continued working on up, up, and away. And we were discussing questions that came from our text that we've been reading. Alrighty, after that, oh, I forgot. I keep forgetting this other part in here. All right, in reading. All right, let me open that back up. Or here, I'll just open this. All right, so we've been learning about the structure. So I said this week we're going to take everything that we're learning and we're going to go apply it to our own writing, because this is the type of writing that we've been practicing. So we are arguing, we're making a statement that someone needs to buy a haunted house. Okay, so we're going to convince them, we're going to persuade them that they need to buy, out of all the houses, this is the one that they need to buy. All right, so we're taking what we're learning, we're applying it to our own writing. We're in charge of selling a haunted house. You have to make a claim that it's the best house on the block and definitely the house that your client needs to buy. So yesterday we started talking about the introduction. Students should have this box filled out with the introduction, where they went and they did a hook, and then they stated their claim. So hooks, we've been practicing in writing. We kind of backed it up a bit, started back at the beginning of things that an introduction should include. And so a hook, we've been practicing how we could start off by asking a question and then following it with the claim, whatever it is that we're saying. So here, our claim should sound pretty similar, because our claim is that the person looking to buy a house needs to buy the haunted house. All right, then we worked today on the body. So the body, one reason your client should buy this house with supporting details. So here you're going to give your reason of why they should buy it, just one, and then you want to expand. So if you say, there's some ideas here I'm talking about like the number of rooms, previous owners, color of the house, garden, fence, price, things like that. So if you say that you should buy the house because it's very inexpensive, well, then you need to expand on that. You can't just say a reason and stop there and then go on to your next reason. You really want to grow that idea. So picture that idea being planted. You need to water it. You need to give it sunlight. You need to give it every good, rich soil. You really need to make that idea grow. Okay, so you have to add in extra details to really tell the reader what you mean by, whatever it is you're saying is your reason. All right, there are two body parts here. So there's another one on the second page. We're working on the body section today and tomorrow. So students did that for their independent work. And then, like I said, we worked on the up, up, and away in small group. Then in writing today, we continue talking about apostrophe rules. So we hopped over to Google Classroom. We went to this under week, what is this, 11? Under week 11, it's called Tuesday through Friday, T through F, writing. We opened up this and we continue talking about apostrophes. So we reviewed some vocabulary. So possess, if you possess something, it means that you own it. Plural means that there are more than one. So if you see the word plural, you're talking about, we're talking about some nouns where we would have more than one of them. Possessive, those nouns, whatever it is, if it's a person, the person owns something, okay? All right, apostrophes have two homes, okay? So there's two reasons that we're using them. Sometimes we use them for contractions, sometimes we're using them to show that possession. Shouldn't would be a contraction, stands for should not. Cousins, you could say my cousin's treehouse, meaning the treehouse belongs to the cousin. That's talking about something that they own. Friends, my friend's dog, the dog belongs to the friend. Weren't stands for were not, so that's a contraction. All right, so here we practice some of these. So the apple skin was green. The skin belongs to the apple, so it needs the apostrophe S, showing that ownership. However, here, we picked apples for the jam. The word, if you look at the word after for, that word does not belong to apple. That doesn't make any sense. So apples, meaning we're just collecting a lot of them. It's plural. There's more than one. We're making jam, so we're going to need a lot of apples. Okay. Here on this next one, the kids. The kids walk to school on the narrow path. Kids, if you look at the word after, is walked. The word walk does not belong to the kids. And so it's just talking about multiple kids. However, here, the kid's path to school was long and narrow. The path belongs to the kid. It's the kid's path that they're taking to school. Okay, so here apostrophe S is showing that that's their path that they take. All right, we stop there. And then that was the apostrophe rules that we reviewed. And then we continued talking about writing and working with that central idea. And where am I going? Seesaw. Go to the writing that we started yesterday. So writing week 11, opinion writing. Open up your draft. All right, so yesterday we got introduced to this prompt. We're writing about one animal that you think would make the best pet, and you're explaining what makes this animal special to you. So we did some brainstorming. This is mine. Yours might look different, of course, if you have a different favorite animal or one specifically that you think would make a good pet. So I highlighted mine. I went with dog. So then I created my central idea, and I said that I think that a dog would make the best pet. Then we've gotten into we're a little ahead of schedule. We're talking about types of introductions. So this type that we talked about first is asking a question. So this is one way that you can hook your reader. So it says you want to hook your reader. It says if you just start off by saying your opinion right from the beginning, your reader might not be interested or feel like it doesn't have anything to do with them. So here we picked some questions. I had some ideas down here to choose from, or you could pick your own. We picked three of them just to kind of, say, hey, these are three that I like. And then we thought about them and we went ahead and picked what we wanted to go with. So I put on here, as long as they're connecting, like as long as you make the ideas, those questions connect, don't be afraid to have more than one. So I went ahead and I picked these first two. I like these. Remember, they have to tie back to this central idea. Okay. So if you just say something like, I don't know, like I took my dog, or have you ever, let me see, um, 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 I don't know. So I can't, my mind is blank. But anyways, if you can't just ask any random question. It has to be tied to this prompt. So mine, I've got out of all the different types of pets, which would you choose? And did you know there are many benefits to owning your own pet? So I'm going to connect those. Oh, excuse me. So I'm going to connect those two ideas, and I like them because they both go with this topic of me wanting a dog, or me saying that a dog would make the best pet. So then we went ahead and we took that information. So remember, it needs you need that hook, and then you need so that hook is the question part. And then you need your central idea. So let me edit this. So one thing that students are doing that I'm noticing is that they're getting too wordy, meaning they're overcomplicating it. They're adding too many words. If they keep it simple and direct, the reader's going to understand. It's going to be a lot clearer, and they'll be able to understand more. So I put my questions. Did you know there are many benefits to owning your own pet? Question mark. I'm asking a question. Out of all the different types of pets, comma, which one would you choose? Question mark. I think so. There, I just did my hook. I connected my reader to my story. Now I'm going to say what I think. I think a dog, and remember, this is my central idea. This is my response to what the prompt is asking me. I think a dog would make the best pet. And then I'm going to lead them into my reasons. I'm going to put keep reading to find out why. Okay. So did you know after you read, or after you write something, go back and read it. And as you're reading it, touch the word to make sure it's actually what you meant to say. Did you know there are many benefits to owning your own pet? Question mark. Out of all the different types of pets, comma, which one would you choose? Question mark. I think a dog would make the best pet. Period. Keep reading to find out why. That's question mark. All right. So here again, I've got this part. Whoop, not that. This. Oh, it's done one up. There we go. This part right here. This is my question. This is my hook that I'm doing. So I'm getting them to start thinking. I don't want to give. If I say from the beginning, I think a dog would make the best pet. Somebody already is going to be like, nope, done. I don't like dogs. But if I say, hey, did you know that there's many different benefits to owning your own pet? Out of all the different pets, What would you choose? Like I'm getting them thinking, I'm getting them interested, they're brainstorming, and then I'm going to throw in there what I think. Well, I think a dog. Okay, if you keep reading, you'll find out why I'm saying that a dog would be the best pet. So keep it direct, keep it to the point, keep it those two pieces. Um, Actually, I guess three pieces because you're doing the hook, and then you're doing the central idea, and then this last little sentence right here, the keep reading to find out why, or let me tell you why, or something like that. That sentence that's going to lead them into your reasons. Okay, so here, this is an introduction. Notice an introduction does not do any, there's no reasons. You don't go into your whys, you don't say because, you don't say the word, reason. It's just to introduce this idea. And this, if you go back to page 1 in the Be Sure Twos right here, all of these, the very first one right here says clearly state your central idea. Okay. It's the most important in my opinion. You have to respond to the prompt. There were a lot of not a lot. There were a couple papers from our benchmark that they got the lowest score. They were good papers. They were fine. I mean, they weren't amazing, but they were okay. And they did not get a high score because they started talking about the person that they wanted to meet. So let's say they want to meet Bob. They're telling me all about Bob. Bob does this, and Bob's so cool, and Bob does this, and Bob does that. But nowhere in the paper did it say anything about, I want to meet Bob. Okay. The prompt said, who do you want to meet? You have to answer. You have to say who you want to meet. If this one is saying, what animal do you think would make the best pet? You have to tell the reader, I think that a blank would make the best pet. You have to respond to the prompt. You have to give your central idea. Okay. So that you need to highlight it, something, this part right here, it has to be there. Okay. You don't want to have your reader wait till the very, we had this issue also in the benchmark. You don't want to have your reader have to wait to get the answer. You don't want them to find out at the end of your page that you think a dog would be the best pet. You need to tell them that from the beginning, and then you tell them the whys. Okay. And then you confirm at the end, that's why I think a dog is the best pet. I hope you agree. Okay. So the order, just like we were talking in math about how order is important, same thing here. That structure is important. All right. So we are going to continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be introduced to a different way of another way of introducing. So instead of asking a question, we're going to talk about funnels tomorrow. So hit draft so that we can continue that tomorrow. And we never have time for these quick writes. We keep running out of time. Too much. All right. If you want to go back to them on your own time, that's no problem at all. They're in the seesaw at the bottom of that writing. All right. After writing, we went to lunch and recess. All right, we came back and we did our science lab today on erosion. All right, open mine. All right, so yesterday we watched this video. We reviewed what weathering, erosion, and deposition are. Then we added some new lyrics to our song. We made up some movements to match. Then today we're working on the erosion lab. So with the erosion lab, we're trying to see we did see how water can move rocks. So we made a model to show what it looks like in real life. So materials are here. You need a handful of small rocks, We used a baking pan, one of the long flat ones, and then a large container of water. And so here, this open space here, this is where you are going to upload your photos, your videos, your all your stuff goes here. And then here's, I shared mine that I did. So here, I did 2 different inclines to show how kind of gravity's at work as well. So just on a small incline, the rocks, I had them all the way up here at the top. They moved so that I saw erosion, but the effect wasn't as great as when I put them on a larger incline. So with the larger incline, they definitely traveled a lot further. So here you can watch the video of mine there. And then again, remember your information needs to go on this page 3. So I want to see your, if you did the recorded a video or if you took photos, whatever you did to show it. I'd like to see your evidence and kind of your observations, similar to what I saw, what I put on here. With notes about where they started, where they ended up, all that I'd love to see. And then we drafted that. And then in social studies today, we continued. So you've got your social study right here, social studies week 11. You've got Tuesday to do for that. And then during our intervention time, we worked on our daily review, which is here, week 11 intervention time. So here we did page 2 with Tuesday. So we were reviewing, comparing numbers, we were reviewing rounding. We were talking about this poem here called Under the Ground, doing some correct spelling, and then working with some transitions. So reviewing some things there to keep fresh in our mind. And then we drafted that as well. And let me make sure I got everything. Yes, sirree, Bob. All right, students had PE today. Tomorrow we'll have music. Don't forget, tomorrow we're wearing our favorite team shirt. And I think that's it, guys. All right, thank you. Let me know if you have any questions.